Let's talk about the 5 things the strongest couples do. But first, if you're new here, my name is Dr. Vanessa Milagros, and I'm a licensed mental health therapist. Let's get right into the video. The first thing that the strongest couples do is they have each other's back. They may not always understand, they may not always agree, but they make it a commitment and a priority to prioritize their partner and have their back the same way that they receive it from their partner. This also means that they can put themselves in the other person's shoe. They can practice showing empathy to their partner. Even if we love someone, we may not always understand why they do or react in certain ways that they do. But the commitment is in understanding you care for this person, you genuinely want what's best for them and their well-being, and you're going to act in that. As a couples therapist, one of the things that I see repeatedly is the fact that in all relationships, we all come with some sort of baggage, past hurts, pain, experiences that have shaped us into the individuals that we are today and impact how we are in relationships with others. Being in romantic relationships is one of the most vulnerable things almost anyone can do because it requires you to not just think about yourself, but also think about somebody else. It requires you to understand that there are many things that make an individual. And part of that is our experiences from the past that tend to come up a lot more when you're in a romantic relationship versus anything else. And so if we're all coming with different baggage, different experiences, different life lessons, different perspectives, and then those two people end up falling in love, there is going to be times where your partner or you get triggered. There are going to be times where we react in ways that we don't really even understand why. But in those instances, what I have seen the strongest couples do is understand that my partner is not acting in the way that they usually do. And so there must be something else going on there. Let me support them during this time. And that's not easy to do because it requires you to take yourself out of that equation and understand this may be more to do with them. So I'm going to choose to support in whatever way I can because I know they would do the same for me. As a disclaimer, I'm not referring to couples who have toxic patterns or that are displaying abusive patterns within their relationship. That is not inclusive of anything that I'm going to share here. Number 2, they have a strong, intimate connection, both physically and emotionally, because people tend to forget that those two things go hand in hand. Emotional connectedness and physical connectedness, which is really important in a relationship, because that's what distinguishes you and your friends or your friendships from you and your romantic partner. Emotional connectedness can include things like spending time talking to each other, listening to each other, spending time doing things together, being there for your partner, taking an interest in their day, consistency within the mundane. All of that is the emotional connectedness that does go hand in hand with the physical intimacy and the physical connectedness. Because relationships that lack that actually report more loneliness and feelings of isolation, even if the person was physically present. Speaking of connection, number 3 is points of connection. So the strongest couples were able to take small, mundane things and use it as points of connection with each other, whether that was a good morning kiss before work, or spending time praying with each other, or talking on the phone during lunch, doing the dishes together. Things that are extremely mundane that you would think, how are those little things adding up to something that the strongest couples do? Fair question. But it's in the small, mundane, everyday things where both partners are able to reconnect, even if it's for a half a second with a kiss in the morning or a kiss before bed. When you hear people say it's the little things that kept adding up that led us here, this is what they mean. Big holidays and big celebrations are wonderful, like Valentine's Day, your wedding day, anniversary celebrations. These are all beautiful and wonderful and should be celebrated. But we also have hundreds of days in between those beautiful celebration points. And so when you're able to connect back with your partner and have those points of connection, that is what makes your partner feel loved and cherished, even if it's a millisecond of a connection every day. Even if you're apart, making that effort, those things count. And I would beg to differ. Comment down below if you agree or if you disagree. But I would beg to differ that those small, everyday points of connection, even in the mundane, are what create a beautiful and thriving relationship. Because the celebrations are nice, but they're not often. And there are several ways to show your partner that you care and love for them every single day. Let me know in the comments below what you think or what your experiences have been. Number 4, the strongest couples evolve. Things happen, people change, especially throughout a marriage. Couples go through changes. Strongest couples understand that changes will happen and understand that that will require them to adapt. There are things that are going to happen that are out of your control. There are things that are going to happen that are within your control that require a level of evolving and change from you as a person, from you as a partner. There are times in marriages where one partner needs more support from the other, and vice versa. The strongest couples are able to know that this is going to happen, adapt, and come from a place of curiosity instead of victimization or blaming. Instead of saying, well, I had an expectation of how our whole marriage was going to go, and it's not panning out that way. Changes will happen. Things will come your way in a marriage that you do not expect to come your way. But the strongest couples are able to understand we're in this together. And so we're going to get through anything. The person you marry is not the same version that you're going to get years down the line once you stay married. It's just not. And ask anybody that's been married for 30 years, ask any relationship therapist, including myself, most, if not all, will agree. We evolve, we change. People have different interests, different perspectives change. And therefore, it requires different levels of care and attention from your partner, from you within your relationship. So the strongest couples understand this, adapt, and continue to love. And number 5, the strongest couples come from a place of curiosity and with a goal of solving. So curiosity means I'm going to ask questions to understand you more, your perspective. Problem solving means whatever it is, we've already decided that we're going to get through this. So it's not always going to be my way. It's not always going to be your way. But we have decided to make sure that we include compromise, understanding, curiosity, asking questions, not for rebuttal, not for our own self-defense, not to always get our way, but to truly understand where our partner is coming from, because we know that our partner genuinely cares for us, loves us, and wants what's best for us as we do for them. So that's the goal, even before the arguments happen, even before the problems arise that you'll have to work on together, coming from a place of curiosity and with the goal of problem solving. Those are the 5 things that I believe the strongest couples do. If you have any other suggestions, add them down below for me, and make sure you watch this video next.